Okay, now that we actually have points added and we have them in alphabetical order, we can go back to our function that we were starting, score captured points, and then we can get our capture points. Get capture points, there they are. Okay, let's just do a for each loop. Make sure they're valid. And then let's get our team progress. Let's split the struct bin. Okay, we got to ask ourselves something here. Is the progress greater than or equal to our max progress? Okay, and the reason I say greater or equal, because as we're calculating this stuff up, there's always a chance that we could go, over max progress. It's just like a safety net. It is a little bit, I don't know, redundant to say, hey, is it greater than or equal to max progress? But it's a good way to be really, really sure that if the value is over there, over the max progress, we definitely should be getting some scoring out of it. So if the team progress is greater than the max progress, let's put a branch. So since we have something that's worthy of scoring, we need to award them to a team. So we're going to award capture points to team. I don't like that name so much because it sounds like we're giving a bunch of points, like as in the capture points themselves, to the team. So we should just say maybe award points to team. That might be better. Now, I know what you're thinking, like, wow, why are you fretting over your function name so much? After a while, once your reviewers are getting really confident with your code and they're noticing like, okay, its functionality is correct pretty much every time you commit something, the thing that they're really going to be picking on you over are your function names and variable names and your comments. And so when I submit a review, I'll obviously debug it and I'll find 99% of my own bugs, just like we did earlier. We found our own bugs, and then I'll go to a code reviewer and I'll get pages and pages of like, rename this, rename that, just to make it more readable. And even when I get done, like we'll get done here, and on my own, I would go back, I would look at all of our variable names and all of our function names and be like, okay, is this really explain what the function does? Because that helps people down the road understand, okay, this is what the function does, and here's what I need to, here's where the error probably lies. So that's why what I was going to name this function, it needs to be something different. So let's just say award points to team. We might change it, but that's what it'll be for right now. So we're gonna call it. We actually need to plug in the team here. So let's double click on that. Let's get our team enum in there. Okay, it is. This is also easy to forget. Make sure we do that right away. Okay. I hate the way that lines up. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. Okay, well, that's just going to be the way it is. Okay, award points to team. Okay, so we got our team, and we know we basically need to award the point to the team. Let's do it. So I don't think we have it yet, but we're going to need to make a team score, so like where all of these values are saved. To save these scores, we could reuse the struct we've already done, which would be the, let's see, let's go back into it and look at our structs that we have. The team count struct. But the problem here is I don't know. Why not just make a different struct that's more descriptive, right? Even though it's going to be housing basically the same things. So we can, here, let me show you what I'm talking about. So that's the team count struct. We can make this into the team score struct. And then we could come in here and instead of player count, we could just say team score. You don't have to make another struct that does this because if essentially you have the team and you have an integer, you could reuse it. That's fine. Or you can make a more descriptive one. You see this all the time in engines where you might have. I'm drawing a blank on it right now, but you might have a container type that's like that's 2 floats or something, and you'll see that, oh, okay, well, that could be this type or that type, and they don't reuse it because it's not very descriptive as to what it is. This one is purely an optional thing. Either make a new struct or you use the same one we made earlier over again. Just make sure that it's not the progress struct, because that is a float and that will throw you off. So either use the team count or make yourself a new one called the team score struct. Okay, so what we're going to do with that is we're going to make an array called team scores. And it's going to be of the type of the team score struct. Make it an array. Cool. And then we are also going to make sure that this thing replicates. So rep notify. Functions on rep team scores. Data dispatcher. On team scores changed. We're just going to call it and broadcast it. That's the native version of calling it. Broadcasting. In case you're curious. All right, back to where we were. So let's go to our team scores. Get them. For each loop, only this time with a break. When you hit that break loop, it'll cause the loop to stop. That's all it is. So basically, we want to find the team in here that matches the team of what we're comparing. So we can just break. This is the other thing you can do besides splitting the struct pin all the time. Check if this, do an equal enum, is equal to this. We're going to branch off of that. Don't need all this room here. Okay. Cool. Starting to feel like a crash is coming, so I'm going to hit save all. Okay, let's go back. Unreal just does that sometimes. I don't know why. When you do stuff for a while, with the engine open, it gets a little weird. So continuing on. We got our broke our thing. We got our team score right here. We want to do an addition. And here we want to say, we're going to make a new variable, points. Here. Promote to a variable. Points awarded per capture point. Points awarded per capture point. Okay. Now, the mistake we made last time was not populating our variable right away. So let's do that. So per capture point, how many points do you think we should get per tick? I don't know. Let's just do 5. That might be too much. It might be too little, but it'll be a good starting point. So you add those together, and we're going to set our array element, and we're going to come up on a major gotcha here about replicated arrays. Okay, so I'm just going to grab off the team scores. I was going to make a big line. I don't want to do that. Oh. I mean, if you can make a line, it's fine, but when stuff gets all clunky like this, it just turns into a mess. So we're going to set array element. Okay, and that's basically saying we're going to set a specific element. So that's going to be the index that we're looking at right now. So all this does is say, the thing we're looping through right now, this iteration, we're going to change it. And the index indicates which one we're changing, so it knows where we're at in the loop. And the item here is going to be the actual change. So we can split it or we can break it. Let's just split it. Okay, and so the team is going to be the team here that we're talking about, and their score is going to be our the point that we have captured. So we've determined that this is our team, and our point goes to that team, we are going to add the points right here. Okay, so let's clean that up. All right. Okay, so right now, in any normal world, setting this like this would be fine, right? Like we've set the array, everything should be good. The problem is replicated arrays, specifically rep notifies, they need an actual set to cause their notify to kick off. So we actually have to set the array. I would think setting an array element would do it. It just doesn't. You don't have to worry about this in native code. It will update. You obviously have to explicitly call the server on rep, but you won't have to do what we're about to do. And I think it's a little unusual, but it's the way it is. And maybe it's one of these things that they will address, but I don't know if it ever will. It's been around this way for a long time. So how to fix this? Basically, is you take the team scores and you will say set team scores. Now this seems dumb, I know. It seems like you're duplicating your efforts here. In a way you are, but it's one of those things, if you want that rep to fire off, that's what you're going to have to do. So there you have it. Anytime you don't call a set, specifically a set, in Blueprint, only Blueprint, it will not fire off all the time, or it won't replicate correctly. Okay, so moving right along, we got our we've awarded our points. Let's go back to the main event graph. Okay, so we've scored the points. So every time we score points, we need to check to see if we have a winning team or not. We may not. Most times we won't, but sometimes hopefully we're going to have a winning team. So let's make a function that's called determine winning team. All right, and it's going to return a team. Makes sense? Cool. So let's make sure we call it. Let's go back real quick. All right. Go in there and let's do the logic. Okay, so those team scores that we just set up, let's grab those. Oh, and one thing I forgot that we did, the whole point of doing the on the award points to team, whole point of doing that was so that way once we or the break there was once we found the team we wanted, we're safe to break out. It's not that much of a savings because we only have 2 teams, but it's, why be wasteful? So that just says, okay, we found our team, we're done looping here. Yeah, and you could have also another trick you could have done is use a normal for each loop. Once you find it, we could have set the array element, and then we could have set the value and just clicked and just hit a return node. If you hit a return node, it will cancel out the for loop. But this is nice if you had a big old loop and it's clear to others what is actually happening here. Anyway, back to determining the winning team. All right, we got, see, now I could just split the struct bin here, but I'll have a int right next to here, so I don't want to do that. That could get confusing. So let's break. All right, then you could see where the problem would lie. If these two were close to each other, you could easily get confused. So let's do the team score is greater than or equal to score to win. All right, and what should our score to win be? Let's say it's 100. Might be a little low, but we can always adjust it. So if the score is greater, there it is. Greater than or equal to score to win. That is true. We are going to take this team and we're going to save it to a local variable. There we go. And we're going to say winner local. Just because you got it doesn't mean somebody else didn't also get it. So we're not going to return yet. When we're only going to set that though, if winner local is equal to no team. Will all make sense in just a second. If, and you might already see where this is going. That should be both teams. I'll need to go in there and fix that. So if you come through here, we're defaulting winner local to no team. So let's say the first team comes through here. Oh, winner local hasn't been set yet. Okay, well that means no team means it hasn't been set yet. So then it comes over here and says, okay, this team then, since it hasn't been set yet, is the potential winner. However, if you come through here and this is not set to no team, let's say it's set to team 1. Well, you also pass this bool check over here, which means you are a winner. So that means we're going to have 2 winners. So there are many ways you could run that logic that might make more sense to you, but that's a pretty simplistic way to say, as we go through here, we either have one winner or we have both winners. So that can happen, especially since we're not ticking every frame. We're ticking every second. It's very possible. If you want to lower the chances of having a draw or a both team winner, you would just increase the amount of time you check, because you're less likely to have both people go over to a point in that same frame of time. So you could, you can increase that check all the way up to every single frame, and then it will be very unlikely to have a draw. So that's just something to keep in mind as you're setting these variables up. Okay, and obviously we got this set up now. We got the winners and locals, so now we'll have to do a return node. Our winning team. So once again, since the for loop started this, I feel confident that we can take winner local and shove it in there. Yeah, we can. Sorry, that was hidden there. Okay, we can take winner local and just shove it into there just like that. And that should compile, save. Okay, cool. We're set. So determine our winning team. Go back to the event graph. We have it here. So if oh, did I not? I didn't name it. Well, I did.